we have someone on the telephone line. Her name is Liza Robinson. Hello, Liza.
Good evening, Neil. How are you?
Oh, if I was any better, you'd read about it on the internet.
I went to the ELO concert at the Maya Music Bowl.
Oh, no, please don't.
What was it? 1980-something? I don't know. The Electric Light, the show, they had all the fantastic pyrotechnics and all that. It was an amazing concert.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, great.
Great album.
Yeah, and I missed Wings Over Australia when they came out here in 76 or 77 because I wasn't old enough to go, according to my parents. And then to top it off, in about 87 or thereabouts, Dire Straits came to Australia, and a mate of mine and I were just absolutely Dire Straits fanatics. I just got married, couldn't afford tickets, so I begrudgingly let that one go past. I spoke to him 2 weeks later. He said, "What did you think of the concert?" I said, "Yeah, I really enjoyed it, except I didn't go." And he said, "Why didn't you go?" I said, "Oh, I couldn't afford tickets." He goes, "Oh, I bought 4 tickets because I figured someone would miss out on tickets, and I couldn't find anyone who was interested, so I gave them away outside the Maya Music Bowl."
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so he and I are no longer on our Christmas card. No, it's all right. I forgave him after about 25 years. Liza, all we know is that you are part of an organisation called the Cyril Callister Foundation. Now, there are people scratching their heads going, I know that name from somewhere. Would you mind if I gave them an audio hint?
Yes, certainly, by all means.
I reckon it's a hint you may have heard once or twice in your life.
Yeah, I think so.
We're happy little Vegemite, we're bright as bright can be. We all enjoy our Vegemite for breakfast, lunch and tea. Our mummy say we're growing stronger every single week because we love our Vegemite. We all adore our Vegemite. It puts a rose in every cheek. It puts a rose in every cheek. It puts a rose in every cheek.
Vegemite, the delicious spread, provides the vitamin B1 your family needs daily. Be sure you put Vegemite next to the pepper and salt whenever you set the table.
Now, to the nearest 5 million, how many times have you heard that song over the last little while?
Oh, I've lost count. I do sometimes hear it while I'm going to sleep at night. Actually, I've heard it so many times. But the man that wrote that jingle was a gentleman by the name of Alan Weeks, who worked for the J. Walter Thompson Advertising Company in Sydney back in the early 50s.
Okay. He would imagine him sitting down one day and going, "Happy little Vegemite." Yeah, what do you reckon of this one, guys? And they've gone, "Oh yeah, I suppose it'll do." So we've talked about the fact that you are Liza. We've talked about Cyril Callister. We've played the Vegemite theme. It is now your job, Liza Robinson, to pull it all together for us. What's this all about?
Yes, so Cyril Callister was the man who invented Vegemite. And he is from the Isle of Man, and he was born and raised in Chute here in regional Victoria in the Pyrenees Shire, which is about 10 kilometres from a little museum that we opened nearly 3 years ago now in an old retro 50s petrol station in the highway town of Beaufort, a very beautiful historic town in Victoria.
I should have played a Bee Gees song leading in, shouldn't I? Because they were also from the Isle of Man and came to Australia and were born and raised here. Well, not born and raised here.
Oh, they were from the Isle of Man. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I forgot about that. Oh, that's probably why they loved Vegemite too.
Stand alive. Yeah, nice of Barry to drop in, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So, Chute, C-H-U-T-E, isn't it?
C-H-U-T-E. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Yeah.
And you threw in there that you've got the while I was doing my Barry Gibb imitation, you were talking about the fact that there is a museum in Beaufort.
Yes.
Now, for those who are Melbourneites who haven't quite got past Caroline Springs yet, Beaufort is the next significant town past Ballarat. Would that be right, on the Western Highway?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, we're halfway between Ballarat and Ararat on Highway 8 if you're driving to Adelaide or to the beautiful Grampians. Beautiful historic town and lovely, beautiful old rotunda. And the Cyril Callister Vegemite Museum. Yep, in an old retro 50s petrol station. So it's fantastic.
Community service announcement. I have driven that road several times. I've got friends in at Warwick near Ararat. Be really careful as you're driving along because A, there's lots of kangaroos, and B, there's even more potholes. It's one of the worst sections of road in Victoria, that section of road. So be careful as you're driving along. So what on earth was the reason? I mean, I've got some things I like doing, but do you like eating Vegemite that much that you thought, oh, I know what I'll do. We'll create a museum to it?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, Neil, actually. I mean, it was really more... The little historic town will eventually be bypassed, like a lot of these small regional country towns. And it is a beautiful little town. And then when I found out that the inventor was born here in Shute, and I thought, well, what an amazing opportunity. Why has nobody done anything, with this idea or with this, this historical point, it's like I couldn't believe it. So I thought, well, that's it. That's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to create a museum and we'll sell, Vegemite lollipops and, Vegemite-inspired meat pies and chocolate Vegemite fudge, and we'll have it all in one spot in Beaufort, and then people will come. So once the bypass goes through, people will still come into our beautiful little historic town. So that was the whole concept behind it.
You do have the added advantage of a little further up the road as you're heading towards Adelaide. There is a very fine bakery. And I am a person who spends a lot of time in regional bakeries, and that one's quite good.
Oh, really? Which one?
The one further up on the left-hand side, opposite the Bendigo, the community bank that we're not allowed to name on the radio because that's a sponsor. They don't sponsor here. Yes, so just opposite the library there's a little bakery there.
Oh, okay.
Before you get to the rotunda. Okay. Well, it was there last time I was going through town.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, I know the one you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
So, if I was to front up at Beaufort and wander through the front door of the Vegemite Museum, what are we going to be doing? Are we just eating Vegemite, or are there other things that you can do?
No, there's lots of things. So we have an amazing collection of memorabilia and collectibles that people from all over Australia and the world, for that matter, find us on all our social media platforms and either collect things themselves or might have something in their home that they were given when they were young and want to donate to the museum. So we have a large collection of things with everybody's name on it. We have, of course, new merchandise that we sell, and then we have a lovely collection of family photographs showing the history of Cyril when they came out for the gold rush, and his young work when he was studying as a young scientist at the School of Mines in Ballarat, and then he went on to Queen's College in Melbourne. So there's lots of history about him. There's some wonderful pieces of art actually painted with Vegemite that are there, done by our local secondary college.
You'd be a bit limited on colours, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Very sepia in appearance, yes. And we do painting with Vegemite classes for little kids. We do Vegemite Play-Doh. And it's really fun to see the young kids do painting with Vegemite because they love licking their fingers.
Oh, of course, yeah, finger painting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, some of them actually do finger painting and scrap the brushes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's obviously one of the main things that the Cyril Callister Foundation does, but it also, as I understand it, does some philanthropic stuff as well.
Very much. The mission of the foundation is all about... when I first came up with this idea, I went to the Callister family and told them what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. And I said that my idea was to set it up as a not-for-profit, and that I would be a volunteer, and there'd be many other volunteers I hoped that would join us in the goal. And they said, look, it has to be a community-driven project, and it has to benefit the community. So it is obviously very supported by the local community from all around the regions. And what we do with the percentage of money that we generate out of this museum is it goes back into the community in the form of scholarships for regional students, particularly in Western Victoria, to study science, just exactly the same as Cyril Callister, how he got his break. And in 3 years now, we've given away 3 scholarships to Federation University in Ballarat to study science. So, yeah, it's great. It's a great circular program.
And the nice thing about that too, having spent a bit of time in some of those towns in Western Victoria myself, often it's quite prohibitive. It's really hard. Prohibitive. You know the word I'm trying to say, don't you? Prohibitive. There it is. I got it out eventually. It's quite prohibitive to send kids to uni, because if you're out at Balmoral or Harrow or wherever, but to have that kind of support financially is giving 3 kids an opportunity they otherwise may not have.
Exactly. So look, it all helps. They're not enormous scholarships, but we're still a very small foundation, and we take a lot of donations and things like that, which are all very beneficial. And we can't afford staff at this point, so we rely on our volunteer system. But it all helps, and people really enjoy that. So they really value and enjoy the whole mission and the passion behind the project even more. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think with volunteerism, and we've just got to the end, I think, of Volunteer Week. In a town like Beaufort, what's the population? A few hundred?
1,000, I think it is now.
Yeah, okay. So, but it's not a massive place.
No,
there aren't a
not
lot
at
of
all.
opportunities to volunteer, and I think when if you're someone who lives in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, which is our target audience with this program, that you think to yourself, it's time for a little tree change, or maybe a country shack to go and spend some time at the weekend. A place like Beaufort, let's suppose you lob in Beaufort, going down to knocking on the door and saying, "I'd like to volunteer," is a really good way to get yourself involved in the community.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, not just the museum, of course, but we've got the art show happening on the long weekend here, and they're all volunteers. They've got a second-hand books show that's happening. It's all volunteers. The CFA, of course, are all volunteers. So, that's really how the community functions, is through all the volunteers that put up and put in and show up. It's really great. It's amazing. Yeah, really good what they put in, so it's terrific.
Now, we do need...
Very worthwhile.
Absolutely. I mean, anything volunteer is worthwhile, but I think something that maintains a link with something that is, I don't think the word iconic is overstating the importance of Vegemite in what we're doing here in this country.
No, absolutely. And I think what it does is it does make us a little bit more Australia proud, and it reminds us all a lot, for most of the people anyway, nostalgic, reminds us of our childhood with very fond memories. And everybody has a Vegemite story. You'd be surprised. Like, everybody can remember something from their past with regards to Vegemite, and they love sharing those stories, and it really makes them feel good. So it's really that joy for all our volunteers to hear all those stories and have a laugh, and people leave very much happy, and definitely with a rose in their cheeks.
And no doubt a jar of Vegemite in their pocket that they have bought
Hopefully.
Now, before we let you go, there's a couple of questions that I do need to ask. And first of all, can I congratulate you, as I did the last time we spoke, on referring to the product as Vegemite and not Vegemite, which seems to be taking over the world. I don't know why people suddenly started calling it Vegemite.
Yeah, I don't know either. And it was, quite honestly, until you sort of said that to me the other day, I was like, wow, I hadn't actually noticed that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't know why either.
And, okay, there is an E in there, but, vegetables, Vegemite, I mean, it's not...
Yep.
It was always Vegemite. The other thing, I used to live on a street that ran off Lygon Street in East Brunswick, which has now apparently become Lygon Street. Rather than Lygon. So people, I put it down to the Americanisation of TV. That's what I'm putting it down to.
Maybe.
Now, I think I asked this question the other day, but I'm going to ask you again, because the folk who are listening now weren't listening then. Well, maybe some are. Maybe they thought it was so good that they came back for a second helping. Zero is I've waved the jar of Vegemite over the top of the toast. 10 is you can't see the toast because of the amount of Vegemite. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
Oh, probably a 2 to a 3.
Okay, yeah. I'm a 7, 8, maybe even a 9 on some days. If it doesn't,
that's a lot.
If it doesn't burn your throat as it goes down, I don't think you're tasting Vegemite.
Wow. Well, it's interesting, because we do have people that come into the museum that tell us they eat it by the spoonful out of the jar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
okay.
Of course.
And they love it. So it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
nothing people tell me is strange to me anymore.
Well, there's some weird people who do that with spoonfuls of Milo, which I can't quite get my head around. But because get a mouthful of Milo and your mouth goes dry and it's all. No, but Vegemite, easy, no worries at all.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, each to their own.
Now, one last question before I let you go. No, 2 more questions. One more question about Vegemite itself. What is your favourite recipe to put Vegemite in that people would go, never thought of that?
That's a good one. Look, I mean, the way I eat my Vegemite every morning, I guess, is obviously my favourite, and that's just very lightly spread on wholemeal toast with boiled egg. I mean, I've been having sort of they used to have soldiers, remember, where your mother would cut them up into like thirds, little strips, and you dip them in the boiled egg. I've pretty much been having that since I was a kid. So I guess my interpretation, I don't make the soldiers per se, but I have that pretty much every morning. So I guess that's my favourite way. I do really like, though, the meat pies that Sovereign Hill make for us. They put a dash of Vegemite in the meat mixture.
Nice.
And it really does give a nice sort of richness and depth of flavour. So I have to say, as a new food, I really like that. So.
I have a bit of a favourite, and it's probably one that you probably want to close your eyes before you eat it, and that is when you mix up a batch of scrambled eggs, put a tablespoon of Vegemite in it and stir it in. It does turn it a sort of a khaki grey colour rather than the bright yellow, but magnificent.
Actually, Yeah, I've heard somebody else do that. Yeah, no, I've never had it, but I've heard somebody else that's done that too. Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Well, it's not a lot different to what you do, with egg and
No,
Vegemite,
I suppose
isn't
not.
it?
Still an egg and Vegemite, isn't it?
Yeah, and our mate Rob that we spoke with the other day, he was very much the Kraft block cheese and Vegemite on white toast kind of guy.
Yeah, right. Well, I had a man come in from Adelaide one day, and he said, "Hey, love," he said, "I've had cheese and Vegemite sandwiches every day for 62 years." He goes, "That's 36,470 sandwiches." I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of sandwiches.
And don't you love a person who
and
steps outside their comfort zone like that?
Exactly. And don't quote me on that exact figure there, because I'm sure it's not correct.
Yeah, there's people reaching for their calculators now.
Yeah, exactly, to try and work out whether Liza's right or wrong, but I'm sure I'm not right. But anyway, the point being was, for 62 years, he's had a Vegemite and cheese sandwich every day for lunch.
Gee, I hope
like, wow.
I hope he's 65, or at least, didn't hope he wasn't,
He makes,
that he
well,
wasn't
his wife proceeded to
breastfed or
tell me
something.
that when he dies, they're going to cremate him and put him in a Vegemite jar. It's never an odd story. Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Everybody's got an unusual story.
Well, Liza, there's only one other question that we do need to ask you, and that is, let's assume I'm driving towards Beaufort on the Western Highway. It's on the left-hand side as you come into town, just before you get to the shops and that bakery I mentioned. What are the days and hours that you are open?
No, we're open Thursday to Sunday, 11 till 2. And other times by appointment, if you've got a group of sort of a car club or a seniors club or a Girl Scouts group, we will open outside those hours for a group of 10 plus.
Not for Boy Scouts groups, only Girl Scouts groups.
Oh, yes, no Boy Scouts. There's no discrimination here.
Absolutely.
We're open for everybody.
Excellent. So, folks, if you are heading to Adelaide or heading up towards Stawell or Horsham or something, put aside half an hour or so to drop into Beaufort. It's a really good spot to stop if you're living in the eastern side of Melbourne. It's a couple of hours away, and good time to get out of the car, stretch your legs, visit the Vegemite Museum, whistle up and get a pie or a sausage roll from the bakery, and then get back in the car and keep driving. I reckon that's the go. 11 till 2, Thursday till Sunday.
Yep, that's it, Neil.
And if you can afford to drop a donation in the container on the way in or out, that'd be great, because, as Liza said, it is all done voluntarily, and you're doing a great thing.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for your support.